Welcome to the Shift into What's Next podcast, where embracing change can ignite a world of possibilities. Hey now, it's your host, Elise Ancel, and welcome back to a space where we have real conversations and talk about the challenges that try to shake us but never break us. Today, we're diving into what I call a crisis in a crisis, when life doesn't just throw one storm your way, but doubles down. You're barely making it through the first situation, and before you can catch your breath, here comes yet another. If you've ever found yourself in a moment like that, emotionally maxed out, spiritually stretched, and wondering how much more can I take, then you're in the right place. Let's talk about what to do when everything feels like too much and the strength that shows up when you least expect it. Have you ever been in a crisis, and I mean a real crisis, where you needed all hands on deck, but it felt like you were the only one holding it all together? You're overwhelmed, stretched thin, and honestly just trying to survive the day. You keep hoping change will knock on your door at any moment, but every time you look out, it's just the same mountain of pressure staring back at you. You've done everything you know to do. You pulled every card, worked every angle, prayed, you hoped, you cried, and still, from your perspective, no real wins. Then, just when you finally start to settle down emotionally, not because there was some grand rescue, but because you've come to terms with the fact that it's out of your hands, boom, another crisis shows up. At that point, you're not sure if you should faint like Celie from The Color Purple or cry out to the only one who knows how to handle both storms at the same time. Now, let me tell you, I've never been through anything like that before. One crisis at a time is more than enough, but recently, I got hit with a back-to-back situation. And I'll be honest, when that second crisis hit, I had to take a step all the way back. Normally, I'm pretty composed. I know how to manage my emotions well enough to keep things moving. But this time, I felt the eruption building inside. But you know what your girl did? I put it down and then I laid down. Just too much for one day. I said I'll deal with this tomorrow because I was already emotionally spent from navigating the first crisis. And guess what? That was the best decision I could have made. The next day, with a bit more rest and a lot less emotional fog, I was able to finally think clearly. Now, let me be real. Clarity didn't bring a miracle solution. I still didn't have an answer. If I did, crisis number one would have been gone long ago. What I did realize, though, was that I needed divine guidance, and it wasn't showing up on demand. It was one of those seasons where God hears you, but the instructions are coming in real slow. And I had to wait. I had no choice. What I was facing was way bigger than me. So I prayed. I trusted the process step by shaky step. I prayed for strength, not a shortcut. And let me tell you, it wasn't easy. It felt like I was sinking in slow motion. And honestly, I was ready to jump ship. But here's the thing. One crisis had to take priority, and I made the best preparations I could with what little I had left. And God, being God, used exactly what I had and completely removed that second crisis from the table. Just gone. One crisis down, one more to go. So think about it. Let's take a time to reflect where you've been in a space where it felt like life just kept hitting and wouldn't stop coming at you. Like life was saying, oh, you thought that was it? Hold on, I got more. What do you do when you feel stressed beyond your limits and divine help feels delayed? Sometimes the breakthrough comes not from doing more, but from stepping back, breathing, resting, and letting God handle what's above your pay grade. You might not have the strength to fix it all, but what you do have is the wisdom to choose where to focus and the faith to believe that what's left in your hands is still enough for God to work with. Whew! If you've ever been through a back-to-back storm, you know that it can test everything. Your patience, your faith, your emotional capacity, and your ability to keep showing up. But here's what I want you to remember. Even when it feels like you've run out of strength, wisdom, or resources, you are not out of options. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is pause, breathe, and trust that what you have left in your hands is more than enough for God to work with. You don't have to be everything for everybody. You don't have to fix every crisis at once. What you can do, though, is show up with what you've got and let divine strength carry what you can. So let's take a moment to reflect as we wrap up this episode. Think about a time when you were overwhelmed, like really in it. What helped you keep going? And when the pressure builds, how can you give yourself permission to rest instead of push? What if putting it down for a moment is the first step towards picking up the clarity you need? You're stronger than you know, and you're never walking through it alone. So until next time, take care of your heart, guard your peace, and give yourself grace, especially in the middle of a storm. Thanks for joining me today. If you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and like, share, or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, and feel free to leave a comment. I'd love to hear how your shift is unfolding.